What's going on, Trinity YouTube? It's me, your boy, Vice out there here, back with another YTC. Today we got the August YTC between Cinosrepus and Nitrog, aka 41 Flavors of Burritos. These are two long-standing veterans within the community. And today we're going to have Cino representing Hero, a deck that he used to play in Master Rule 4, but undergone some recent changes with the August ban list. This time around, the Vion package has been hit and cut because it was running too many decks. In exchange, we got Liquid back with this ban list, and 41, I believe, is on flip for this event. And that deck received all sorts of goodies, particularly in the way of Tindangle, but we'll see how that turns out. Looks like Cino didn't scout initially before this began, but, you know, going in blind, I don't think it really matters in his case. He's a bit known for his luck sucking. But either way, both these players are really good in the technical play, so we'll see how this one turns out for them. Starting out pretty conservative. It's honestly a safe idea against 41, and, you know, not blown out too much here by the Yugioh Dragon. Trading 1-for-1 with an MST, love to see it. And there is one of the new stars from the set. There were some attempts to try and get some attention on this, but ultimately we should see a couple of reasons why that wasn't necessary and why it doesn't come to fruition. So we're pitching a beast, probably garnered in the hand, sending the intruder. This gets a lot of value the longer the game goes on. Putting up a similar setup, except we're setting one more. It's the Armageddonite. We're just passing back and forth. Similar setups. MST for MST. Set up Foolish for Foolish. And Shadow Dragon for Shadow Dragon. Alright. Well, looks like 41's definitely opened up the game now. Or not. Or so. Yeah, and you know, this is what happens when you develop anything at all. You'll just get punished by Exiton. Hopefully we do get some triggers here. Both players will be on 3-card hands. Make that 4-card hands. So the Exiton will be back up on the follow-up. Beast will get the trigger here, which is good. But it's still a bit rough. 41 has to forgo his battle phase here. But he also has to get rid of this, so we're probably going to look for an Umastrict setup. Pottery, it's pretty good. Looking for a revive or summon from hand. Okay, so we did have the Umastrix. And we are forced to out the Exiton this turn, or everything we did was for nothing. Now, unlike Exiton, we are able to commit to some damage here. Cino's likely gonna... I mean, the summons are a bit contested now between Liquid and Blazeman because they're two very different niches. Blazeman's always gonna either be a fusion play or milling the Shadow Mist, but locking you into fusions anyway. Liquid, a bit more versatile, especially with Stratos and Shadow Mist. Actually, every hero with the non-summon effect, but it's more of an safer play than the Blazeman. See where that goes though. Alright, resetting everything. Notably the Fiendess is offline because she's not face up. Blazeman adding a polymerization. We'll be using it, most likely for the Sunriser. Yep. I'm gonna be trying to pick up a Miracle Fusion here, but do have a Junk Sleep. This changes all of them? Not particularly sure what this is doing too much besides setting up the Umastrix. It does provide the Fiend's Negation, and it does provide the Negate attack, which does beat out the Sunriser. But we will still have at least 2 more attacks, maybe. Alright. See how this plays out. Could we not deal with the Miracle Fusion being negated? I guess that's one of the problems with adding the Blazeman over the Liquid. Rank 4s are definitely way safer than going for fusion plays. Only because fusions are a lot more committal, a lot more investment. XCs are a lot easier to pull off. Notably, the dynamic is a bit more in the favor of fusions because you don't have to commit to the summon limit as hard in Trinity, but because we were on 7-3 there, and we've already burned through our Sunriser and the Blazeman, it's probably worth spot. Most likely sending Shadow Mist here. Adding the Liquid to do the Shadow Mist play again. Yep. Alright, Madman set 2. Cino's definitely more on the mid-rangey side of heroes rather than the OTK, which they're definitely capable of. But let's see what the fall one's picking up. The new J-Man. Cleaning up the Madman. Picking up a card. Honestly, there's nothing too wrong with playing this slow on Cino's part. He knows that Flip most likely can't OTK him, at least with how these Tindangles tend to build up their advantage. Subterras, on the other hand, can probably push for a lot of damage, but luckily we didn't open too many of them, or any at all. Oh, we got it, DC. Back. Alright, Shredder's picking up Blazeman, so that's a potential follow-up. Interesting to see. I was gonna say that he didn't go for the Liquid here, but I guess we are setting up a fusion play. Now, this does either telegraph that we have a second Mist in the hand, or what does the other option mean? Why would you buddy force Blazeman over anything else? Trinity. I mean, it's fair. It clears all the monsters. However, this one here represents a little bit more attacks depending on what we've got to send here. Since this can definitely send things like the Windy and the Falco, we can probably just fade this entire battle phase into nothing. You can definitely understand the Trinity, but not too big a fan of how much this commits into everything. We'll get at least 1 card added from the Liquid, but it's not too great. Pitching Torrential. I mean, in this position, if we're resolving Torrential here, we lose the game, so I don't disagree, but probably would have kept it for dire situation. We notably should have probably attacked this guy here first, because this one will resummon itself from the graveyard if a monster is summoned face down. So, not really understanding the order of attacks here is definitely gonna probably punish him here if this is executed correctly. We're sending a Windy here. Oh, Terrifying Toddler Torment. Right? Well, this is definitely another way to Foolish, and it does summon itself back from the graveyard as well, so. Getting 2 bodies back, and we're setting up another Foolish. And we've also added back a J-Man, so we have our follow-up. But we do not have any monsters on board, so. One of the downsides of flips is, I was gonna say the lack of the ability to just turbo out a bunch of monsters, but here we are turboing out a 2500 beat stick, so stand corrected. But yes, usually the deck will best shine in the grind game more than anything. Its advantage is oh, this is just the on summon effect that's being triggered. Okay. Usually its advantage will be found in the form of the continuous spells and traps, succession, and final battle. Can definitely stick up to like 4 monsters on board at a time. But, oh yes, Chainlink 1 was the Terrifying Toddler being flipped face up. Chainlink 2 was the World Armor, so this bottomless was an illegal activation. This set could be anything though. Right? You love to see the Ret Time Reviver Emitter. Pretty good tuner. Books things at spell speed 1, sadly, but a book is a book, and a tuner is a tuner. We love us some tuners. Gonna crash. Doesn't bait any background. We do have the pawns. That's most likely getting the pawns, isn't it? Succession, even better of a hit. Oh man. Well, that definitely puts a stop to a lot of 41's advantage. But Cino is on the back foot here. Unless he's got another buddy force lined up, he's pretty behind. Top deck for turn. Quite the think here. We're gonna Foolish. Most likely sending the only good Foolish target in a deck where you don't really play any Foolish targets. Adding back Liquid. Alright, he's learned his lesson. Don't attack flip monsters unless you can clear all of them that come up. Let's focus for some damage. Good thing to note here is that because most of these guys will have lower attack stats, Burrito will have to be a bit careful with flipping them face up. And there's the Unbound Buddy Force, acting as a form of revival that resets itself. Cool and good. Just gonna say, how did we add the Dynatag there? This should have added a... Oh, I guess he... Yeah, that makes more sense. You just assumed that the board was gonna be cleared. But yes, pretty much anything like the threat time, the toddler, the J-Man, Falco, man, even the Angel, like they just can't be face up because we'll be taking too much damage and we'll be pushed closer to lethal. We did set up quite a bit of really good monsters here with the Umastrix and the Intruder. Just because the Intruder is gonna keep looping here. Really good rush here. Flipping up the Uma, banishing the Mist to prevent any Chica shenanigans with the Mist. There is still one in rotation, and we do have the Liquid, so it doesn't accomplish too much, but allowing your opponent to start with too many monsters in Trinity is setting yourself up for failure. So yeah, I definitely agree with this play. Clearing out some monsters. Making a Nightmare Unicorn here and probably something like wasn't this set this turn? You can't activate this. What's the reason for this? Not entirely sure why. Might have been under some sort of battle restriction, but it's what it's. Ah. Level 6 or higher monsters your opponent controls cannot target this card for attacks. The Duel Link special coming up when we need it most. Great. Notably not chaining it to the pawns that we know was searched, because we did Cosmic a card that was not pawns. But, I mean, it does force it out early, I guess. I still don't agree with it too much, but could have been anything, you know. There are still good back row and flip this stage. Summon 1. Summon 2. And oof. We're a little bit off. Oh dear. Alright, the 25 direct. Because we're about to attack into Cinosrepus and take damage, Dynatag's gonna wrap it up. And I guess this one didn't cross my mind, but Dynatag was one of the monsters that did come back with the new ban list. Because we did end up hitting the Fusion Destiny to bring back the monsters that were hit because of Vertanaconda and all sorts of shenanigans. Dynatag was able to come off, and Fusion Destiny was... God, it was hit. Because it was really tough to play around when it was at full power. But seeing it used in this sort of way definitely does show that New Direction for Heroes leans itself more into these mid-range plays. I'm not sure if that's quite optimal, but it did win him the game here. Particularly because of the life points difference. Who needs to OTK when you can just beat them down anyway?